Hello and welcome to GameSpot's Super Mario Maker 2 review. My name is Jake and I'm here with our reviewer Peter Brown.
Hey man.
Super Mario Maker 2, it is the sequel to Super Mario Maker. It's exactly what it sounds like. People can create and share their own Mario stages. This time around, there is a story mode.
Yes, and what a story it is. It's not really that special of a story, but the story mode itself is great because what it has is 100 levels made by Nintendo in the Mario Maker toolset, which means these are not the sort of things you would normally see from Nintendo, but it's still got their creativity and brain trust behind it. So a lot of fascinating stuff in there. You go online, you play other people's stages. Some are going to be hit or miss. The ones in story mode, they're all hits. Like they're all really, really good. So that's been a great mode to play, just in general.
And then there's like almost an overworld, right? Like the premise is that you're rebuilding Peach's castle.
Yeah.
And you're kind of exploring that area.
It's a weird sort of like side-scrolling slash 3D. Like I don't even want to call it 2.5D. It's weird, but yeah, you can't do much other than walk back and forth, talk to characters, and get levels from them. Turn in coins, rebuild pieces of Peach's castle. It's all a wrapping to make an excuse for what you're doing. There's a couple of cool nods in there, like the dog from Mario Paint, who's also in the game, like in the maker part of it. But he has a nice little cameo, and you get him a doghouse, which is actually like Koopa's shell, I think. And I don't know, it's cool, but really the stages are the star of the show.
Yeah, I think one question I have is about the Unlockables.
Yeah.
So Mario Maker 1 had that sort of divisive unlock system where you had to start your Wii U every single day for I think 5 or 6 days or something like that.
Baby steps.
Do you have everything from the start, or do you unlock things throughout the story? Like, should you play the story before you get into making?
No, I wouldn't say so. There are some things you can unlock by beating the story. It's just a few. I think only, if I remember correctly, it's either just 1 or 2 items that you can use in the Maker toolset. But they're not hugely impactful. Not like the sort of additions that Nintendo has made otherwise. So I would say if you want to make stages, go right in. If you need a break, the story mode's a great place to just play some fun levels.
Well, speaking of making stages, another new addition is Yama's Dojo, which apparently is pretty in-depth at teaching new players how to create their own stages.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think Yamamura was present in the 3DS version, had sort of like a light tutorial system, but here there's like a series of courses, not like Mario courses, but like study courses you can do to become a thoughtful, capable creator. And it does start off pretty simple, right? Like here's how you achieve certain objectives when it comes to practically building a level. But then it gets into sort of like philosophical things, like what is your mindset when you go to build a level? Like how do you approach the broad concept and whittle down to the individual things you want to focus on? It's pretty cool in that respect. And there's funny little banter between the pigeon and Nina, I think her name is, the female character who's like the budding Mario Maker standing in for you. It's definitely helpful. Yeah.
What about the actual interface itself? You can build stages docked, and I feel like that experience could be vastly different, considering one, you can actually use your finger or stylus to draw.
Yes, if you have a stylus, making on the Switch itself in handheld mode is the most ideal way to do it. Without a stylus, you're going to run into some clumsy things here or there. Like at first, it didn't bother me too much, but the more that I started to try to make sort of intricate levels, I would find that drawing straight lines or even just trying to grab an individual tile would often result in misplacements when using my finger, registering on wrong blocks and kind of screwing up my stage. You can go back really easily just by holding down the B button, but definitely play with the stylus if you can. I unfortunately don't have one that's super reliable, so I'm still trying to figure out what that's going to be. Whatever you do, probably don't make stages docked because you have to use the buttons on the controller, obviously, without the touchscreen, and it's clumsy. And especially given how intuitive and straightforward it is to drag and drop and build levels in handheld mode, going from that to a controller in docked mode, it just doesn't make sense. Your brain takes too long to figure it out. And I think the only way the reason you'd want to do that anyway is if you were building a stage with someone else. But yeah, primarily just build in handheld mode. That's the way to go.
So what about the gizmos and different objects you can place? Is there a wide variety? Does it feel like there's a lot people can make with the tools that are given?
Yeah, I mean, that's what the community's been showing me so far, playing all their levels. I mean, there are a lot of things to choose from, and they all have like pretty predictable behaviors if you've played a lot of Mario games before. But you place an object and then you can hold down your finger or the stylus on it and it'll give you options to like transform it in a few ways. or you can combine it with other items. Those things aren't totally explained to you up front because there are so many combinations. That's half the fun though, is exploring and seeing what you can come up with. Quite often the community will teach you that through the levels that they're making and uploading. So often you'll discover something when, trying to make one, and that feels kind of cool. There's clearly a lot of depth there to explore, so it's going to be a while before I understand everything.
Well, speaking of the community, how have the community built stages been so far?
Great. There's a ton of stuff that's been brought over from the original Mario Maker. And I know like some things have changed that the community has taken note of, but I think for most players like myself, we're not going to notice the intricate little trick that people used to use missing from this big impressive stage that they've uploaded. The game has been out less than a week and there's already more levels than I can keep track of, which isn't surprising at all. And they're great fun. It's this endless portal to more Mario, and Mario that like you've probably never seen before, because in the hands of creators, things are going to come out a lot different, and they do compared to what Nintendo might make.
Yeah, is it pretty easy to find those stages and upload, play, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. There are lists that are curated based on popularity and whether that's all time or like within the recent window, which are called like hot courses. You can also see new stages that like no one's played, ones that were just uploaded. There's a ton. There's also detailed search you can use if you want to whittle down by, what game it's based on, the sort of theme that's in use, the type of stage, like if it's an auto running stage or one built with like puzzles in mind. So yeah, it really feels like if you just want to play Mario, you can kind of go there and find something for you, and probably something you didn't know you wanted to.
So one thing they added with this one is the multiplayer, co-op competitive modes. There's matchmaking. It sounds like there's some issues with that though.
It's been bad for me so far. So because there's no transparency to the matchmaking, I can't see, or rather I can't dictate what sort of people I get matched up with, which normally that would just be saying like, okay, only match me with people on the West Coast in America. I don't know where these people are coming from, but I do know that the lag that I'm playing with is robbing the game of the fun. If it's competitive, right, you don't feel like you're on even footing because you don't know who has the same lag you do. But also Mario, it's a really precise game, a series rather, like when it comes to platforming. And when you're dealing with lag, like that precision just goes out the window. So it almost feels like, why am I even playing this when I have all these other amazing stages to play? On the other hand, like I don't know that Nintendo really wants this to be a focus for the game. I don't know, but random stages are selected for the multiplayer matches, which means that you can't really make a stage and say it's just for multiplayer. So you get stages that aren't really a perfect fit. Which is all to say that, like, all things considered, multiplayer feels like an option Nintendo's put in there just to say like, yeah, if you want to play with other players, fine. But really, we think the solo play is the thing, because that's what everything is tailored for, and that's what's been given the most attention. If I had one wish for multiplayer apart from the matchmaking to improve, I think what everyone else says is that we want to be able to play with our friends, first and foremost. Now there is like the local option where you can play like in the same room with someone that has their own Switch, but online would be better, especially because you have to pay for Nintendo Online.
So what did you give Mario Maker 2 score-wise?
8 out of 10. I think it's a really fascinating game. It's, if you play the first Mario Maker, you're going to feel very at home with this. There are enough innovations that make it feel fresh and new, and like it's worthy of being a sequel rather than just an upgraded port. I think Nintendo gets a lot of credit for what they've done with the interface to make Mario so accessible to, all these people that are making stages, but really it's the people making stages that have made this game so special. I think it's really cool that we're going to be able to engage with this game for the foreseeable future, and I really hope Nintendo, is pretty smart about how they improve the game and about how they decide which stages they may have to take offline, because I know that was a problem in the past. We'll see what happens here, but so far so good. They've done a really great job with it, and the community's doing an even better job.
That was Peter's review of Super Mario Maker 2. For more reviews, features, and news, stay tuned to GameSpot.